Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to talk to you about Call of Duty World War II, which, if you haven't heard, the most popular leak and rumor on the internet is that CoD 2017, Sledgehammer's next CoD, is going to be called simply Call of Duty World War II and is obviously a World War II shooter. There are leaks about this on the internet, which I have linked below in the description, both Charlie Intel and the original source. You can check out both. However, I will not be showing the leaked images in this video because that could get me a copyright strike, which I absolutely do not need. Gameplay today is MWR, a little bit of AW, and I think I might sneak in a cheeky IW clip that I have left over. So there were 5 total images leaked that were concept posters, cover art, and some steel case designs for what is supposedly Call of Duty World War II. To me, they look like early versions of marketing materials and maybe some sort of concept art that developers work on. So before they start modeling characters and building the game, the art team designs art that they sort of model around. It looks a lot like that. The sets of images focus very heavily on the D-Day invasion of Normandy. I think of them, 4 out of 5 of them were of the D-Day invasion. Very big scale, airplanes flying over, hundreds of soldiers, smoke, sand, water, huge mess everywhere, and honestly they look very legit. They are at minimum very high production value, and there are reasons that I think this is legit and reasons I think it's a CoD World War II game. I'm going to talk about my opinions of it after I talk about these reasons. Reason number 1 is that the source is a moderately well-known leaker who leaked Infinite Warfare early last year. So one early leak that turned out to be legit. So one early leak does lead credibility to this. The title art is a newly designed Call of Duty font and not a ripoff of past Call of Duty titles. This is a small detail, but there's a lot of fake leaks every year, and one of the most common ways to tell a fake is if you look at the title art, the way the font and the text is, it's almost always pulling from like Black Ops 1 or MW3 and not really that unique of a design. This one is a unique design with bullet holes in the Call of Duty and World War II having their own slashes and looking unique, and to me it just looks very legit. It also lines up with the little bit of info we have so far that Call of Duty is going to be boots on the ground. World War II is certainly boots on the ground, and as the Activision CEO says, we're taking Call of Duty back to its roots. Well, there's nothing more roots of Call of Duty than World War II. Before COD 4 blew up and became one of the most popular games of all time, we were stuck in this setting of this issue of infinite World War II shooters. We had Medal of Honor, we had Call of Duty, we had knockoffs of each. There were lots and lots of World War II shooters to the point where COD 4 was amazing just because it was modern, and the roots of Call of Duty do go back to World War II, literally the Call of Duty. There's also an old quote from Michael Condrey in 2014 that mentions that he would enjoy a high production value game with a setting in World War II much like Band of Brothers. You can look that one up on Charlie Intel as well, but again, a little bit more info that lines up with what we've got. Now, a lot of people are going to say, is this fake? Is this fake news, a fake leak? And there definitely are fake leaks every single year, and this hasn't been confirmed or proven, so it is definitely possible that this could be a fake leak. There was one of them so legit recently that somebody actually built a fully functioning in-game menu with character designs, with a new title, with matchmaking, with an alpha code, and like all sorts of crazy stuff, and actually played this thing live at a convention and recorded it with a cell phone to make it look like an internal marketing event. Incredibly high effort and high production value that honest to God fooled me. However, even that leak was debunked relatively quickly with some community Google foo. You can find the stock images, you can find the reference art, you can find what's going on. A lot of people saying that this one looks like either Band of Brothers or honestly to me a lot more like Saving Private Ryan, but we haven't been able to re-Google the images. We haven't been able to find the source material, so with no readily available source material, there's no debunk yet. I also noticed that Charlie Intel started using this immediately for hashtags on its social sites and social media. They used it on the main website, other websites are running with it, and a ton of community members jumped on board very, very quickly. With other leaks, they're usually skeptical, they're not feeling it, they're looking for proof. With this one, it was sort of all hands on deck, everybody on board. So all I can say is somebody knows. Somewhere, somebody started this ball rolling, somebody knows this is legit and jumped on, and that's kind of how I'm feeling as well. That's my estimation. As for how I feel about it, this is close to what I wanted. This is close to my ideal Call of Duty. My first pick would have been a modern game. I would have said it in the 90s, 80s, that sort of modern, maybe not the future kind. But if it wasn't going to be modern, World War II was definitely the way to go, especially the latter phases of World War II. And I think it's been so long since we've had a good World War II shooter, there is a lot of potential of new stuff to do. World War II certainly has no jetpacks, no lasers, and no special abilities that occurred in that war. All of the things that Call of Duty fans, both old and some new, tend not to like or get frustrating. It has a chance to be more grounded, more realistic, and more raw feeling than any Call of Duty game in the last several years. Also, Nazi zombies can come back. Yes, like, zombies are fun. I loved zombies in Spaceland. I enjoyed Exo Zombies, but nothing really quite does it like Nazi zombies. I don't know what it is. That idea of fighting Nazi zombies, like from World War II, just like the movie Dead Snow, fantastic movie, you should check it out, is very exciting to me and the rest of the community, so I hope they do some version of Nazi zombies. There are some very fun scenarios that you can replay from the war in modern graphics, which hasn't been done in a long time. You could do the D-Day invasion at Normandy, which is what we see on most of the leak art. You could do any of the Japanese land battles like Hacksaw Ridge. Stalingrad, very popular, very epic. There's Battle of the Bulge, often underrated. Any of the island hopping that occurred during World War II, the jungle combat, the sweaty, brutal Pacific Island fighting, aerial combat. Now that's a fun one, because we saw with Infinite Warfare they had a PSVR level for the Jackal doing aerial combat, and I know Call of Duty is partnered with PlayStation, so it wouldn't surprise me with that partnership that they want another PSVR component or side level. So maybe we could have PSVR aerial battles. Maybe you could actually like dogfight. Like, that would be really, really fun on these old like single engine planes, do some PSVR dogfighting. Or maybe even PSVR naval combat could be really fun. There's a lot of different things that you could do with this that would be quite fun. As for the implications and some of the downsides there could be for World War II, well, weapons will be historical, which has so far, honestly, that's worked pretty well for Battlefield 1, but it does limit them. If you did, say, a modern game, you could take every modern weapon, of which there are hundreds, and you can do classic weapons and throwback weapons and things like that. If you're doing a historical shooter on World War II, you gotta stick to World War II weapons, of which there are plenty, but not as plenty as modern. They're also more limited when it comes to customization. There were only so many weapon attachments available in the war, and I gotta tell you, Red Dot sight wasn't one of them. Treyarch had to get mighty creative in World at War for that aperture sight that just wasn't quite the same thing. It'll definitely look strange in the esports sense to watch people go from literal like jetpacks and lasers back to World War II, and somewhat confusing, but there is a chance for staleness if this is handled improperly. If the content isn't right, if the variety isn't there, if it doesn't have the right look or feel, it could end up getting stale, but it also has the chance for greatness if handled correctly. World War II is one of the greatest conflicts in human history. There was more blood, sweat, oil, diesel put into that than anything ever. There is a ton of great stories to tell, a ton of interesting scenarios, weapons, violence, all the things you love from Call of Duty. So it's kind of all up in the air to see what Sledgehammer can deliver. Guys, that's all for this commentary. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.